Hello, welcome to Ellen Global channel. Thank you for visiting this channel. Today we'll be considering another area that is of benefit to water factory, and specifically we'll be looking at the bottle area today, and then we'll be looking at the cost of production and the cost of distribution of a bottled water. Now, in my previous video, we're able to look at, we've done justice to the cost and distribution of sachet water. You can check that in my previous video, and you have access to that for more understanding of how to calculate cost and distribution of sachet water. But today we'll be considering that of bottled water. Now, please bear with me today again. I'm not with a marker board or something that I'll be writing on the board for a better understanding, but I believe that one, I will not be too fast so that you get a clearer understanding of the variables we'll be looking at, so that at the end of the day you do your calculation and you arrive at a good costing of production and costing of what? Distribution. First of all, what are the variables we're looking at now? We're looking at the fact that if you must produce a bottled water, you need to have a cap, you need to have a label, you need to have shrink wrapper, you need to have preform, you need to have you need to consider distribution cost, you need to consider the cost of power, electricity, and you need to consider also the cost of what? Quality. Now let's look at them one after the other. Now let's start with preform. Now preform comes in different grammage, and grammage has to do with the thickness of the preform. The thickness of the preform is grammage, and then preform also comes in kg. Kilogram is talking about the weight of the preform. Now from the kg, you can predict how many is in the bag. Now let's take for example now, if we have 18 kg of preform, that is a bag that is 18 kg, and at the same time it is what? 18 gram. How do you go about it? It's just for you to convert, you multiply 18 times 1000 and then divide it by what? By the gram, which is what? 18 gram. Now what of in an instance is, if you do that, now you have like 1000 pieces in that bag. Let's say for example, you're looking at 21 gram now in a 20 kg. What do you need to do? You multiply the kg, which is 20 by 1000, that will be around 20,000. Then you divide it by what? Your 21 gram. Whatever you arrive at is the numbers of preform in that bag. Now, if you've established the quantity in a bag, then you should be able to calculate that, if I put this into production and at the end of packaging, this is what the cost of one of the preform will be based on the sourcing of your preform. And we need to be mindful, very careful, to ensure that we buy preform that are of good quality, not just good quality, but that have a good price. A price that eventually you should be able to make what? Profit from what you're doing. Then the next thing is caps. Caps, normally either it comes in carton, in bags, and most of the times in Nigeria, for example, most caps comes in 4,000 pieces in a bag or in a carton. Now what do you need to do now? Let's assume that you've been sold a cap for 30,000 naira. Now you divide 30,000 by 4, then you arrive at the cost of one caps. And that is why also you should be mindful that of preform and the caps. Whoever that is blowing your preform should be a professional, and try as much as possible to have a good machines so that the waste will not be much at the blowing section. And during production, whoever that is mounting your monoblock should be professional too, so that he will minimize the waste from the cap. Then the next thing is your shrink wrapper. Normally shrink wrapper comes in kg, and it also comes in microns. We have 100 microns, more than 100 microns. Now, the higher the micron, the thicker your shrink is. And that is why if you look at some shrink are light, because the microns is lower. Now, if you have a good micro and you mount it on your packaging machine, from the calculation and from previous studies, what is obtainable is that in 1 kg of shrink, you should be able to have like 15 packs to 20 packs of 75 cl, 15 to 20 packs of 75 cl. Now, if you look at it now, how many bottles in 75 cl pack is 12? That is in Nigeria. I don't know how it is in other countries, but you have 12. So from there now, you can now do your calculation from there. You should arrive at a unit price for one bottle when you have a shrink, certain kg of shrink. Then the next thing, level. How much is the level? A level in Nigeria should not be more than maybe 5 naira per a level or 6 naira. That is why your sourcing of your material is very important. Try as much as possible, like I say, get a quality material and a good price. Then your cost of electricity. How much electricity are you consuming weekly, daily, monthly? Put that into consideration also. It will also add to the cost of your production. Then eventually your quality. You change filters, you do this, then your quality is not actually every day. But like changing of filters and other things, it's not every day. So try as much as possible to learn how to calculate your quality so that you can add it to your cost of production. Then finally, your cost of distribution. It has to do with both the fueling of your vehicle and then the commission and other things that happens outside. Buying of recharge card by your drivers or your marketer, as long as it is from you. It also have to affect what? Your cost of production, your cost of distribution. Now remember, whenever you're calculating, you want to know the unit cost of each bottle, you must factor in the cost of production, which are itemized the variables, and your cost of what? Distribution. Eventually. Now remember, it's 75 cl like I told you from the beginning is what? 12 in a pack. 50 cl could be 16, some 12 in a pack, some 20 in a pack, and then we have 35 cl as well. And then we have 1.5 liter, which is 150 cl. Now you factor those things in place so that at the end of the day you should be able to have what? The production cost and the distribution cost. When you have that on your table, then you can drive well in the market. You can have power over fixing of price. You will not be intimidated by